Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Jonathan Witt, the president of Oriental Weavers USA. Jonathan, how you doing?
Doing well, Kemp. Good to speak with you this morning.
Yeah, good to talk to you. I wanted to talk to you in the middle of last month. The founder of Oriental Weavers Worldwide, Mr. Farid, died. I want our listeners to learn a little bit about him. Before we get to that, Oriental Weavers here in the United States in the top 3 when it comes to area rugs. Tell us how business is.
Business is interesting. The pandemic had a detrimental effect on everyone for a couple of months. However, we're all lucky to be in the home category because so many folks have been spending time at home and beyond work-from-home status, which is going to change a lot as people spend time at home. People aren't as comfortable being out and about, and that's had a really positive effect on our business and on the home category in general. You see the strength of home sales, but also renovations, redecorating projects are huge. So, through the roughest months in March, April, and May, we were lucky to have a strong e-commerce foundation going into the pandemic, and I think we all know e-commerce exploded, and in the flooring category, rugs lend themselves more than anything to that kind of direct ship-to-home through the parcel services. So we saw extraordinary growth with our e-commerce partners, and then we were lucky to do business with some of those stores that were deemed essential, home centers and mass merchants who also saw a record month. That said, it was definitely not enough to offset our core brick-and-mortar furniture store, flooring store side of the business. But as stores began to reopen, we saw demand pick up beyond what any of us could have imagined. Looking at Q3, I never would have thought it, but it's actually our record quarter for the company ever in terms of shipments and incoming orders. Just amazing. And we've also benefited because we were closed here in the States 3 weeks, and our mother company over in Egypt actually didn't miss a day. Egypt managed the virus very well, so our supply chain has been consistent, where a lot of our competitors, obviously in China, Turkey, India, face some long shutdowns. So there is a lot of demand in the market, and also we've had the consistent supply.
So your 2020 year-end number is probably going to be better than your 19. Is that right?
We should be up a hair or at least comp. Tough second quarter, but third is building on it.
All right, how about that? Okay. And as you said, there's been a big shift, more so in rugs than any other category, to e-commerce and to big boxes. So, while furniture stores and some specialty retail stores are important to you, the business has moved that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely has.
And there's a trade show coming up in a couple of weeks, but it's not as important as it used to be. I don't even think you're going, right, to the High Point show?
We're actually opted not to attend. We did the same with the Las Vegas Furniture Show that was at the beginning of September. Frankly, we're not comfortable asking or requiring our folks to come to such a large event.
Right.
And a lot of customers aren't coming as well, so we just thought it was best to at least wait one more round. I think we've all learned a lot of time on the road for meetings that probably could have been done right here in our office.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move to Mr. Farid and give us a quick overview about him and some of the ways he changed the business.
He has a little bit of a background that I would like to tell everyone about because it ties into the broader flooring market. He graduated just with an accounting degree, worked at the National Bank in Egypt, became a really outspoken activist about the direction of the government, and ultimately in 1967 he was forced to leave Egypt and ended up in Kuwait. Well, when he got to Kuwait, was looking for a job and found a job as an accountant at a flooring distributor. Mm-hmm. Pretty quickly realized he had a passion or an affinity for carpet and looked for ways to help them build that business. And over the next 10 years, became the largest importer of American-made carpet into the Middle East. Mm-hmm. Had relationships with all of the big players at the time. They used to come to Dalton quite frequently, and of course the shows Atlanta, Chicago. Had some really amazing relationships here in the States. In the late 70s, the government changed in Egypt. The president, Anwar Sadat, was looking to privatize a lot of the businesses that had been run by the government. He was looking for export opportunities, and he heard about Mr. Farid's huge success over in Kuwait and what he was doing throughout the whole region. So he reached out and asked him to come back to Egypt and to start a manufacturing facility, and offered a piece of land that was going to be in a new duty-free trade area that was really close to the Suez Canal. So Mr. Farid loved Egypt so much that he had to leave for speaking out to help it. So he came back, and Oriental Weavers was born. That was in 1979, and really over the next 10 years, went from being an importer and distributor to learning manufacturing inside and out, and he created kind of a new category of rugs. Previously, you had the high-end wool Axminster side of life, and obviously the hand-knotted rugs that were thousands of dollars, or you had the really cheap machine-mades that, frankly, you'd see hanging on a clothesline at a gas station. There wasn't really anything in the middle, so most people that had better rugs, that was an heirloom and the foundation that you built your room around for decades. He thought that rugs could be more fashionable, could be a decorative accent, but obviously had to upgrade from what was viewed really as, cheap machine-made rugs. Through time, not only with engineering in the machines, but also he saw the value of vertical integration, so started a petrochemical company to create our own polypropylene, and then extrusion, yarn, all the way through the process. So we were controlling every step, and he was able to create some really wool-like yarn to use in machine-made rugs, and then also tweak the machinery where instead of the 6 colors back then, 8 colors was a lot of color. We were able to put 36 colors in a rug. When you had all that put together, it created something that was blowing buyers away. That was happening in Europe and the Middle East. Breaking into the U.S. market was a challenge because our fashion was very different. And a man named Johnny Graham was working with Jerry Weinrib at ABC Carpet in New York. They had an import line called Whitney. Johnny began doing some product development with Mr. Farid, and eventually their success led to opening our operation here in the U.S. as Oriental Weavers, distributing product to retailers, flooring stores and department stores. Our success took off, and Home Depot, Walmart, etc. were wanting to buy from us and take advantage of that new quality that was in the middle and offered a better price point for some of those guys. Also, though, Mr. Farid loves Dalton. Like I said, he really had an affinity for the U.S. market and decided to open a manufacturing facility here in Dalton, and we use that to supply made-in-the-USA product to the Walmarts of the world back in the mid-'90s, and that continues today.
Now OW is the largest in the world, right?
Yeah, far and away. We're pretty much focused on the rug business, so not into carpet with the exception of some patterned hospitality, no wood, etc. It's kind of a do-what-you-do-best philosophy. That was Mr. Farid's passion, and we have over 220 woven looms, and we have the largest print facility in the world is located in Egypt. So pretty expansive. All of his businesses together have over 22,000 employees globally.
How about that? So accountant falls in love with the flooring business and also loves his country and builds a worldwide rug company. It's amazing. All right, Jonathan, I appreciate you giving us an update on Mr. Farid. Again, been talking to Jonathan Witt, the president of Oriental Weavers USA, about the founder of Oriental Weavers Worldwide. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.